Tonight the moon is exactly where it should be. Now imagine it simply switched off and vanished. For 1 1/3 seconds, nothing changes at all. The sea still swells and the moonlight still falls. That moonlight was already on its way. It left the moon before the moon stopped existing. Light needs time to cross 385,400 kilometers of space. The sky is always showing you the past. Then the last of it arrives and the lamp goes out. The tide keeps rising for one more heartbeat. Something enormous has changed and nothing has noticed yet. This episode follows what happens next. First, the honest warning: moons do not vanish. Energy and mass are never destroyed, only moved and rearranged. This is a thought experiment, a flashlight we point at physics. Our guide is an old friend, the photon. It carried the news in our last episode. Tonight it carries much less light and much stranger news. The rule it obeys has not changed. Nothing outruns light, and that includes gravity itself. A change in the moon's pull travels at the same speed. So the tides keep their old instructions for 1 1/3 seconds. Then the pull stops arriving too. The tides are the moon's real signature on this planet. Its gravity pulls the ocean into a bulge on the near side. Inertia leaves a second bulge on the far side. Earth turns through both, which is why most coasts get 2 high tides. Take the moon away and the biggest hand lifts off the water. But the tides do not stop. The sun raises tides too, about half as strong. The ocean keeps breathing, more quietly. What really disappears is the rhythm. Spring tides happen when the sun and moon line up and agree. Neap tides happen when they pull at right angles and argue. With one voice gone, the argument ends. Tide pools would stop draining as far. Estuaries would flush more weakly. Whole coastlines are built around a range that would shrink. The sea would still move, but it would stop keeping time. Now look up on a clear night. The moon never made any light of its own. It was always sunlight, bounced off old grey rock. Remove the mirror and the night keeps only the stars. That mirror always showed us the same face. The moon turns exactly once per orbit, so one hemisphere is permanently ours. Every human who ever looked up saw the same craters. That view is simply over. The sky also loses a clock. The phases repeat every 29.5 days, and life learned to read them. Calendars, festivals, and languages were built on that cycle. The word month is a fossil of the moon. Some creatures depend on it more literally. Coral colonies spawn once a year on cues from the lunar cycle and the water temperature. A reef releases everything at once, and the timing is everything. Without the cue, the blizzard never gets organized. Here is where the famous answer goes wrong. Earth leans over by 23.4 degrees. That lean is why we have seasons at all. It is not our distance from the sun. The lean is not fixed. Over the last million years, it has wandered between 22.1 and 24.5 degrees. The cycle takes about 41,000 years. Small changes in that angle move ice ages. You have probably heard that the moon holds that angle steady, and that without it, Earth would topple over and roll like a barrel. It is a wonderful story. Newer modelling does not support it. One study of a moonless Earth kept the tilt inside a 20 to 25 degree range. That holds for hundreds of millions of years. A large moon, it concluded, is not needed to keep a planet steady. The honest answer is less dramatic than the legend. The moon does slow us down though, in a way you can measure. Tidal friction drags on Earth's spin. That lost momentum has to go somewhere, so it goes into the moon's orbit. Earth turns slower and the moon climbs higher. The numbers are tiny and relentless. Our day gets 2.3 milliseconds longer every century. The moon's orbit grows about 3.8 centimeters a year. That is roughly the pace your fingernails grow. Remove the moon, and that particular ratchet mostly stops. The sun still raises tides, so the braking does not end completely. the long stretch of the day would nearly halt. Our clocks would finally hold still. And then there is the coincidence we would lose. The sun is about 400 times wider than the moon. It also happens to sit about 400 times farther away. So the two disks look almost exactly the same size. Nothing arranged that. It is not a law, and it is not design. It is the luckiest accident in the sky. It is also the only reason a total solar eclipse exists. You might ask why it does not happen every month. The moon's orbit is tilted by about 5 degrees. Most new moons it passes above or below the sun and misses. Only twice a year do the paths cross. Here is the quiet sting. The coincidence is already expiring without any help from us. Once the orbit has grown about 23,500 kilometers wider, totality becomes impossible. That is more than 600 million years away. To know what we would lose, look at where it came from. About 4.5 billion years ago, the Earth was young and unfinished. Something the size of Mars hit it. We call that object Theia. The collision threw a colossal amount of rock into orbit. That debris settled into a ring and then gathered itself into a sphere. The moon is not a stone we captured. It is a piece of here. We know because we went and picked some up. Chemical analysis of the Apollo samples told the story. The moon was once a part of Earth. 12 people stood on a fragment of our own planet. So the moon is not decoration hung in the sky. It is machinery, and it is wreckage, and it is family. It has been leaving slowly for 4.5 billion years. Vanishing, it just finishes the job early. Come back down to the beach. The tide is coming in exactly on schedule. The moon is 384,400 kilometers away and entirely fine. Nothing has switched off. But it is moving away, about 3.8 centimeters this year. The day beneath your feet is a hair longer than it was. Both of those are true tonight, and both are gentle. The machinery is running, and you can watch it. So go outside and look at the near side. It is the same face our whole species has watched. That light left 1.3 seconds ago. Look up while the coincidence lasts.